Hello and welcome back to Nobby on Cars. I'm in beautiful Slovenia to look at the all-new X-Trail, which starts from mid 40,000s, 45,000 euro for an SV model in a 5-seater. Now you can get it as a 7 because that's what the X-Trail does. This version is e-Power, and it's actually my first time to try out e-Power in any Nissan, and it is really brilliant. So essentially what it does is you've got a 1.5 hybrid engine that charges the batteries, but the electric motors actually turn the wheels. So the petrol engine is never fully part of the chain. It starts in the chain, it converts it to electricity through the battery that drives the wheels. You can get a 4-wheel drive version of it, just over a 90 kilowatt output for the rear. And then there's a mild hybrid in a 1.5, that's 163 brake horsepower. Not the most powerful, particularly in a 7-seater. Nissan reckon this is the one that people will go for, the e-Power version, 7-seater, just over 200 brake horsepower. It's a 2 kilowatt hour battery, so don't confuse it with charging. You don't charge it. It's not a big battery in terms of an electric car, but it's enough to drive the wheels. And actually there's full EV mode and you can get up to 2 to 3 kilometers depending on how gentle you are with the accelerator. Not surprisingly, Nissan have designed an X-Trail that isn't a million miles away from the previous model. The grille is still very familiar, even the headlights are quite familiar, but it is a brand new model. So you got LED indicators in the front and LED headlights, but they're not LED indicators in the rear, which is a little bit strange. Quite similar to the Aria, you've got these ridges and edges, and it's also on the Qashqai to a certain extent as well, just on the edge of the bonnet here. This X-Trail is a top of the range, so this will be SV Premium, I think, by Irish standards. So it's got diamond cut alloy wheels. They're huge. They'll go up to 20s, I think it is. This version is 20s. Shout out for Slovenia, by the way, just like the backdrop of today's video. It's absolutely beautiful. I have no idea where I am. I could be murdered, never found again. That's if this video makes it to YouTube. Hopefully it will. Okay, so we have keyless, we've got e-Power badges along the side, we've got bits of chrome. If you don't like chrome, you want to think about that. There's kind of a brushed finish to the roof rails over the car. The doors open to 90-degree angles, just like the Aria and the Qashqai, and it really does make a difference if you're trying to load objects and humans and pets into the car, although I'd probably keep them for the boot. Don't want to wreck your new X-Trail. More chrome over the back. I like the way the boot release is tucked under here, and let me just check. I never have luck with these things. Can I get the boot to open? I'll just applaud myself, because if you've watched a couple of videos on this channel, that can sometimes be a struggle. There's kind of somewhere to put the parcel shelf. I can't fully get it flat enough to actually bury it away, but that's probably me more than the car. It feels like with a bit of messing you'll do that. Obviously if you have your rear seats up, it's a little bit tighter, but drop them down. If you go with the 7-seater model and the boot is very generous, obviously you can drop that middle row of seats again and create even more space. And if you go over the top of the range, you will get an electric tailgate. Oh, hang on. There's cup holders, but there's no USB chargers for people in the 3rd row. Now something like the Kia Sorento has, and that's also a 7-seater. If you want to watch that video review of the Kia Sorento, you can click the link up here. It's also in PHEV and diesel. I just want to check that that boot thing works, because I was going to say it could have just been a bit of luck, but that appears to me like it's one of the easiest to use foot things. The idea is if your hands are full, you've got your key in your pocket, you can just walk up and open the boot and you don't have to put everything down. That's the idea. But hey, X-Trail, it works. I love that angle. It's just so helpful. You do sit up at quite a height here in the back of the car. This version has window blinds that you can get from the factory. They just keep the sun out, obviously, for adults and kids in the back. Now, this middle row can be adjusted to give your rear passengers more room. 5'2" is kind of the limit in terms of who's going to fit into the back, according to Nissan. There's good foot room, good leg room, good knee room, and there's good head room. Even with the optional glass roof, you get plenty of light in here. And this upgraded interior. This is really bright. It's kind of like a mustard kind of tan leather colour in real life. It's very nice. You do get an armrest in the X-Trail, but it's also part of that middle seat, so if you're not using it, you can drop it down. Heated seats in the rear for, again, this upgraded spec of the car. This is top of the range again. You've got climate control, USB-C and USB charging ports down here, and a reasonably flat middle hump. So it's kind of top marks on the back. If you've checked out the new Qashqai, that's kind of what the new X-Trail is like on the inside. So these are memory seats. As soon as you press the start button, your seat will automatically go to where you saved it. Steering wheel is the exact same from the Qashqai. Instrument display, also very similar. A really wide screen, great graphics. It is a bit of an improvement. The camera, again, if you go to the 360 on the higher specs, it's really good resolution, good all around 360 visibility. Gear shifter, straight out of the new Aria, except there's actually the gears in this one. You do have an e-pedal mode. It'll slow the car down to 5 kilometers per hour. It won't fully stop the vehicle, but again, that's a crossover from their EVs. There is an EV mode button, so you don't have to charge it again. There's enough battery going on. It will do up to 2 to 3 kilometers in kind of crawling traffic. You have physical knobs for heated seats, aircon, climate. This is a kind of a tried and tested infotainment system in terms of the Qashqai and stuff, so there's no lags. Everything is moving as it should. You're going to get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless as well. You've got different terrain modes. So you've got eco, you've got off-road, you've got snow and ice, and you've got normal driving mode, and there's a sport mode. I haven't used it because it's an X-Trail, but if you do want to maybe have a little bit more grip, there is the terrain mode there. Again, great bolsters. It's connected with wireless through your phone, so you can get weather updates and stuff like that. And it is like an upgraded Qashqai place to see it, but very nice, good quality materials. There's a kind of a fine grain effect going on here. Wireless charging down here. It's kind of everything you'd want. There is a massive difference with this e-Power model. I haven't driven it before, but it's so smooth. Even at motorway speeds, 7, tops 8 litres per 100 kilometers is achieved. So it's a lot more economical. I have a 1.3 Qashqai at home, and that will struggle at times to do 9 to 10 litres per 100 kilometers just from the standard 1.3 engine. So there is a significant difference. I've actually stopped the vehicle for a second as well. Let me stick my hazard lights on because I just need you to see the view out the front of the car. Aside from the head-up display, Slovenia is just the mountains. It reminds me of Austria in many ways. Like, you look over here and just like, look at that. It's absolutely beautiful. It's just such a stunning. Look at the rays coming off the sun there. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. So if you do get a chance to see it, you should come and see it. Like, look at that. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Anyway, back to the car review. So you have your automatic gearbox. It's really, really smooth. That's like part of this hybrid technology that's going on. Is it just the revolutions that go on in the engine happen so much faster. Everything is just more instantaneous pickup. The gear changes are far smoother. You don't feel it. Like, it's, I like that CVT gearbox whine that you get sometimes in this style of vehicle is gone. So there's no kind of groaning when you accelerate, even up a hill. It's nice and relaxed. It's nice and chilled. It doesn't sound like someone is being tortured at all. Definitely handles in a more controlled way. I've pushed it into bends, out of bends. Again, it's a big car, it's a heavy car. You're not going to drive that with 7 people in it. That's fair enough, but certainly going into corners with a little bit of speed, it's no problem whatsoever. It's just anything that isn't tied down. We'll go for a hop. I definitely feel they've made inroads in terms of body roll. It doesn't have that kind of wallowy, soft, floaty feeling at all. It feels a lot more planted. This feels like there's a lot more grip out of it also. And I actually took it off just in these shots here that you can see. I mean, that is kind of off-road. It's quite uneven. There's lots of rocks and stones. Not what, you know, you'd normally expect to do in an X-Trail really for passenger use, and it coped absolutely perfectly. There's like crystal clear rivers just running right beside the car. It's seriously, check this place out if you get a chance. For me, the big takeaway from e-Power is it's so smooth. It truly does feel like you're driving an EV. This e-Power is coming to the Qashqai as well. It just seems to be like everything else, so delayed. We were chatting about the glass roofs that go into cars today, and it's not even the manufacturer of the car company, it's the company that put the glass roofs into cars. Their machines, they have nothing to do with Nissan, for example. Their machines for putting the glass into the cars, they're short of semiconductors as well. So it's not even the car companies that are short of semiconductors, everybody is. Now, I'm on probably better roads than we're going to get at home as well, but very smooth. Copes like half the car is in gravel there. It's coping with it nicely. The other half is obviously very, very smooth, but lumps and bumps, even on 20-inch alloys, I'm not really sensing a problem. As you might expect, top of the range one, frontal collision, cross traffic, blind spot, head-up display, plenty of safety, autonomous braking if you're going to reverse into a bollard or pedestrian. That's all on the top spec of the car. SVE is generally a sweet spot as well, and I'm just going by other Nissan models as to what's going to come in and be available in Ireland. Again, entry prices mid-40s. I'm told the first of these X-Trails will be in Nissan dealers from the middle of November, so there isn't too far to go till you can actually check one out for yourself. So first impression is very good. Probably biggest improvement in some ways is actually how the car drives, which is high praise indeed in the new X-Trail. It is going to be the workhorse that it always has been. It's in a slightly nicer dress. It's about evolution, not revolution at all in the X-Trail. I think the e-Power thing is quite interesting. I really have enjoyed it. It's a very kind of smooth car to drive. In lots of ways it will remind you of an EV. And it's got that boot, it's got the practicality. It's just all about where do you want to spend the money. And now there's the Aria, which arguably, although it's not a 7-seater, is as big of a car. It's 100% electric, and you just might be more interested in that kind of thing now. But if you do need the extra space, if you do need the 2-row seats, you're not quite sure about electric yet, this e-Power thing is actually a very interesting way of kind of dipping the toe. Thank you for coming with me this far in the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. We're on the way to 30,000 subscribers. Your help with that would be really, really appreciated. Thank you to the wonderful people of Slovenia for having us, because it's just beautiful. You get a chance to come here, do. And I'll see you in the next one.